What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp here for the Fightful.com podcast, July 22nd edition, brought to you by DraftBeast.com and On It. Go to our podcast page on Fightful.com. Click that On It link. It will open up a ton of sales for you on the On It website. This podcast is a bit of a, I don't want to say a makeup podcast because I've podcasted every day this week. But we didn't get an opportunity to talk a lot of NXT. Didn't get an opportunity to talk Cruiserweight Classic. Lots of other stuff going on. I am joined by Rob McCarron of Shake Them Ropes. Not just on a Monday this time, Rob.
No, I crashed this party, basically.
You did.
I saw the announcement. I'm like, hey, Sean, I want to come on. And then you said no. And then I said, I'm coming on anyway. And you finally had to agree.
It's because you are an obsolete mule.
Whoa. Wait a second. An obsolete mule. I don't know what that means. I'm guessing that's from something. I don't know. But I have no idea what that means.
Yeah, it's from Matt Hardy.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, an obsolete mule. That Matt Hardy, I tell you, is Matt Hardy character of the year or what?
He's fantastic. He might
be
just from that, but the broken, or not just the broken Matt Hardy, but the big money Matt earlier this year was really good.
Yeah, no, I'm counting that in there. I'm like, this guy might be all top three just with what he's doing, because I don't know character wise what even comes close. I honestly, is Kevin Owens in there? I don't know. There's just been not a lot of going on about as far as like a gimmick or as far as a character. And with John Cena missing most of the year and Roman Reigns having his suspension troubles, Brock Lesnar showing up for one match, basically. I don't know what else even comes close.
Also, I wonder what this does for Matt Hardy's demand on the indie circuit. Because I've seen some of these clips where he goes to places and he gets over as a babyface, playing this broken Matt Hardy character by saying, Indianapolis, I knew you'd come. And then the crowd pops. Of course. Why wouldn't they?
Yeah. He's already a popular guy, too. I don't know if he's getting any more popular because of Impact Wrestling, but he's maybe more relevant now than he was for a couple of years there, because he was always popular, but it's not like he's popular for what he had done in WWE. Now he's popular at the same level for both what he's done in WWE and the fact that, hey, he's been all over social media and he's a relevant topic in the world of pro wrestling. It might be more comparable to last year when we had the Randy Orton RKO Vines. Randy Orton had been popular. It's not like he was any more popular because of the RKO Vines, but he was more out there and he was more known maybe to the fans who hadn't been paying attention in the last couple of years. So I equate it more to that than him being hugely popular because of TNA.
Speaking of TNA, it looks like they're moving Bound for Glory. It was September 11th. And that is going to be the night of WWE Backlash, in which John Cena is not advertised for, I believe.
Yeah, WWE Backlash, which is going to be a SmackDown-only event. The top stars being advertised are AJ Styles, Dean Ambrose, and Bray Wyatt. There's no John Cena anywhere on the advertisement for it, which would be odd that he would miss the first SmackDown-only event. It's also the night of Johnny Gargano's farewell in Evolve. So, they didn't want to compete with Evolve Wrestling. It's a lot going on that night there, September 11th, in the world of pro wrestling.
And I know a lot of people will be like, well, they're not dodging Evolve. Evolve that's all that's on my timeline when it's happening.
I don't necessarily, I believe they're moving it because of WWE. Absolutely. Sure. 100% they're moving it because of that, even though that Backlash event won't actually be on pay-per-view. It's a WWE Network exclusive only. That one is one of those true times where they can say only on WWE Network and it'll be true, instead of a flat out lie. So Battleground is the reason, or not Battleground, but Backlash is the reason they're moving. But also that night was happening to be a pretty big night in Evolve. Like that Evolve show, at least for those who follow the independent wrestling more closely than WWE, but watch WWE anyway, it's probably going to be a good amount of people watching the Evolve show and then catching up with Backlash later on.
Sure. Somebody asks if we'll ever see Hardy in WWE. I'm sure we'll see him in like a mini run or a one-off or something like that. And of course they're going into the Hall of Fame. They have kept a decent relationship with the WWE, I would think. Yeah. They've never been off in that regard.
Right. They just didn't fit in for what they were doing at the time they had left. Matt Hardy wasn't doing anything. He was back and they knew he was hurting. I don't know if he's going to come back and wrestle for him, but You might have a little bit, just a little small bit of the Kurt Angle disease going on there where they're afraid of injury and afraid of, him doing something in the ring. But yeah, those guys are absolutely going in the Hall of Fame. And you never know. Maybe after this year, if they decide with these brand extensions going on in WWE, there's more room for them. Coming up in 2017, that might be the year where you actually see a bigger push to get some of these guys back, and the Hardys might be top of that list.
I don't know who fits into what the WWE is doing now, because they are apparently going out and they have contacted Kurt Hawkins, Rhino, and Jinder Mahal. Now, Kurt Hawkins, I kind of understand.
No,
I kind of understand it. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Kurt Hawkins serves no purpose. Zero purpose. And it's hilarious that Sami Callihan left WWE to go get a name on the indies. I don't care. You get your Kurt Hawkins point after I start ranting about Kurt Hawkins, okay? This is the only reason I came on this show. You have Juice Robinson going out there, going to New Japan because I need to make an indie name before I go back to WWE. You have Sami Callihan out there for the same reason. You have all these things. Drew Galloway didn't go out there for that reason, but he's done it. He's made a bigger name for himself going out on the indies. Kurt Hawkins got fired and ruined his name on the indies for the most part. He went to PWG and shit the bed. Like, this is a guy whose name was lower value, and he was never anything in WWE in the first place. Like, I'm sure he's a good guy or whatever. I don't know him personally, but as far as on screen, there is absolutely zero purpose to having Kurt Hawkins on there. You can give me tag team with Zack Ryder. You can give me whatever you want. There's zero purpose for him coming back.
Dare you?
Zero.
Try to deprive me my feud between Kurt Hawkins and Mojo Rawley over the love of Zack Ryder.
Zero purpose for Kurt Hawkins coming back.
I just gave you a great purpose. I just gave you a great purpose. He and Mojo Rawley are going to have a blood feud over the allegiance of Zack Ryder, and I can't wait.
I would rather Mojo Rawley and Emma have backstage segments where each of them is jealous about how much
Zack Ryder. Get involved too, even better.
Just the two of them. We don't need Kurt Hawkins in there. No, we don't need Kurt Hawkins.
Gonna come around with his goofy little stick. I don't know. But Jinder Mahal was perhaps the most surprising.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit surprising because they fired him and he's done nothing. Like, he's working independents here and there. I mean, what is he, in Puerto Rico for a couple of times a year, and he's in Texas a lot. I don't see him doing anything that's improved his stock, but WWE they're on an international kick at the same time. Look at the Cruiserweight Classic. That Cruiserweight Classic was strictly done not to bring cruiserweights back, but to have an international flavor themed event and to be to hyping these guys and where the WWE network is available. And Jinder Mahal could absolutely do that. You have the WWE network in India. You need some Indian stars. Jinder Mahal is probably the biggest one out there you can get as far as name value based on his past run in WWE. And who knows, maybe team him up with Heath Slater again. Whatever show Heath Slater ends up on, because at this point right now, this guy's going to show up in freaking, I don't even know, AAW tonight, for all I know.
I hope he goes to Evolve. I hope Heath goes to Evolve. Rhino, I kind of understand a little bit. He's got a little name value, former ECW champion, former TNA champion. Don't have to get into that too much.
But it's, get into this, though. He's running right now for a state representative seat in Michigan.
That's true.
I don't know if he's going to win. I don't know the politics of what he's running for or who he's running against. But say he won that. I know state representatives don't work year round. They work for a couple of months in here, and that's a couple of months where he probably would not be able to work for WWE if that happens. So I'm guessing he thinks he's not actually winning.
Yeah, he's having like cook-offs and stuff as to raise his.
He's trying.
Yeah, he is trying.
Yeah.
Somebody asked, "Will WWE sign Ricardo Rodriguez?" I think that ship sailed. I think that they did as much as they could with Alberto and Ricardo. And man, that babyface run, Ricardo was brutal.
Yeah,
that babyface run.
Oh, absolutely. By himself, he's awful. By himself, Ricardo is nothing. And Alberto Del Rio by himself is okay. The best they've ever done and the best they've ever been was when they were a team, when Ricardo was the guy going out there and introducing Alberto Del Rio. That was the best they've had in WWE. So would I like it if they were paired up again? Yeah, but it's probably not a necessity. You're probably not hiring Ricardo Rodriguez just to be a manager in WWE. And he didn't do the best for himself when he left WWE too. This is a guy that disparaged the company at times. This is a guy that made fun of people in the company. He did not take the go out quietly route. You don't see Curt Hawkins out there bashing everyone in the company, at least on a large scale. And if he is, it's probably because no one's paying attention because it's fucking Curt Hawkins.
Curt Hawkins did that developmentally speaking series, though. I really like that.
You're the Curt Hawkins. Maybe I'm out of touch. I don't know. Maybe there are a lot
I'm not like I've not watched a single one of his matches since he left WWE. Maybe a couple in TNA with Trevor Lee when they tagged up. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, and there was the match. I mean, the match everyone talks about on his indie run was the match with AJ Styles at PWG for the Battle of Los Angeles last year or 2 years ago. And you go in there with AJ Styles, you should have a good match. You're going into PWG. This is a crowd that wants to have fun, that wants to enjoy everything they see. And he just went out there and had the absolute worst match of that entire weekend. And he has not come back. Like, this is a guy that can't work PWG. And it's insane. I mean, he's working the Northeast. He's got his friends. He's got his shows. He's well connected. But I just don't see the worth of bringing Curt Hawkins back at this point. There's people in NXT who haven't even appeared on TV that could actually fill a spot and I think do better. And, the brand extension is supposed to allow for more spots for more people. I don't know why you bring in retreads. It's not going to help the house shows. I don't see how Curt Hawkins is going to help viewership retain on SmackDown. I just don't see the purpose of bringing back Curt Hawkins at all.
I don't see the purpose in bringing back any of these three names because you have a Ty Dillinger would bring you the same exact numbers that probably any of these three names would, Rhino included, because, none are necessarily draws, but
right.
Ty Dillinger at least has proven that on house shows he can get over.
Yeah.
He has proven that, and he's ready. So, I mean, why not? If you're going to bring somebody into that role, why not a guy like him? Also, another transaction of sorts. Mm-hmm. Paul Heyman's contract lapsed.
Yeah.
What do you make of that?
He can always come in at one-shot deals. He doesn't necessarily have to have a contract to come in for 3 shows every quarter. This can be a guy like Teddy Long where, hey, we're going to pay you a certain amount to come in for this one show. You're not going to work house shows. You're going to work 2 TVs and a pay-per-view. I don't see a contract lapsing here and choosing to renew as a bad thing. If they want him in with Brock Lesnar, they can have him come in with Brock Lesnar. But let's face it, Brock Lesnar is okay on the mic himself. He really is. He didn't necessarily need Paul Heyman. Probably early on in his first run, he needed Paul Heyman, and Paul Heyman makes the act better, yes, but Brock Lesnar doesn't need Paul Heyman. So I could see him coming back for a couple of shows here and there on a one-shot deal and not necessarily a contract. So I don't know if this news necessarily means the relationship between the two is ended, but it certainly is not what it once was.
Also, Brock Lesnar might not even need to be on the mic to promote whatever he's doing for the immediate future.
Right. Yep.
They're booking Orton versus Lesnar. It's 2 guys that haven't fought each other in 14 years, and Randy Orton was not at the level that he is now. Also, this is an interpromotional match of sorts. So.
That's right. It is. No, it absolutely is. You got the big interpromotional match right off the bat here with Randy Orton representing SmackDown and Brock Lesnar representing Raw. And it doesn't need anything more. It doesn't need Paul Heyman cutting promos. It really doesn't. It just needs, hey, Randy Orton's a huge star. Brock Lesnar's a huge star. They haven't been in the ring in the last decade. This is going to be a big time match. It's your semi-main event too. It's not like they're expected to main event SummerSlam. So it's already big enough. Paul Heyman not coming in for this one show, if he doesn't end up coming in, is not the biggest deal in the world. And there's plenty of time for him to make a new deal for him to come around for Royal Rumble and WrestleMania next year.
This week's NXT wasn't your run-of-the-mill NXT. You had Samoa Joe versus Rhino, Authors of Pain versus American Alpha. You had former Tough Enough competitor Patrick Clark and all of his American-clothed glory against Austin Aries. Nia Jax versus Bayley. They loaded this episode of NXT.
Yeah.
Do you think this was by design after the draft that, some of these people that maybe saw the names from the draft for the first time, they were like, okay, maybe I could check out this NXT a little bit, and they get a pretty big show out of it?
I don't necessarily know if it had anything to do consequentially with the draft. It's just you're getting to the final push towards TakeOver. I mean, TakeOver is a month away now. So you have to have the talents that are actually going to be on TakeOver looking good here. So you have Austin Aries and No Way Jose doing their little pull apart. So you have that building up towards the show. Samoa Joe looking strong over a guy like Rhino, because Rhino isn't the biggest star in the world. So and he's a guy that was around last year. So you just have that push towards Samoa Joe. Bayley, we always knew the Bayley-Nia Jax match was going to happen because this was her final push to getting that rematch with Asuka. She had to come back and she had to dominate. She had to beat Nia Jax. So that was going to happen. You had no Shinsuke Nakamura on this show. You had no Finn Balor or anything like that. You have American Alpha because they're, again, pushing towards TakeOver because they are on the TakeOver card. I don't know if it had anything to do with the draft, more so than it was just the start of the real push towards TakeOver back in Brooklyn.
Also, the Cruiserweight Classic this week. The return of Tajiri, Rob.
Yeah, he was back. He's much slower than he was before. He does his signature spots. This is a guy that he lives the gimmick of being a star of 10 years ago who comes in and just does what he's known for and kind of takes it off in between. And, he's another guy that is rumored to be coming back to WWE as a full-timer, possibly for the Cruiserweight division on Raw. So this is a guy that we could be seeing more of. And he's perfectly fine. He's perfectly fine, but he's not going to be a star of this Cruiserweight Classic. He's more of a nostalgia pick.
Yeah, I like that they brought him in. It's sort of like, the King of Trios thing where they have some old timers come in and throw them into the tournament as well. I like Tajiri being in there. What else was on this show? Tajiri won, by the way. TJ Perkins versus DeMac. Now, TJ Perkins was a guy who kind of, I don't want to use the term bullied. He's kind of bullied by the likes of Josh Matthews on TNA. And, I don't know that a lot of people expected him to even get this type of run, but he is. He has a run. And as we'll see later on in the tournament, it's a pretty damn successful run. So I thought he looked good. I thought DeMac looked pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, TJ Perkins, after, seeing, we won't go into the spoilers, but after, I don't think we are, at least based on spoilers and based on, seeing his performance, based on the bracketology special, where he got one of the few video packages based solely around this guy, it's starting to look like TJ Perkins is a guy that they're not only going to sign, but they're going to make a pretty big deal and using his backstory to do so. So great for TJ Perkins. And I mean, Josh Matthews is an asshole. So what are you going to do? Yeah,
who gets the last laugh here? Not Josh Matthews.
No, not Josh Matthews. No, I mean, Josh Matthews went to, and this is a different Josh Matthews than we ever saw in WWE. Like, I feel like this guy was an underdog. He was a fan favorite. People wanted to see him do better. And now you're seeing the more real Josh Matthews on TNA, who's just, he's not humble. And he's going there. He's making bad references.
Fired by WWE, it sounds like.
Oh God, yeah, no. You absolutely can see why he was gone. And he calls himself the best announcer in wrestling, and that's not true.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's just not true. And if you're a fan of Josh Matthews out there, I guess all the power to you. You get to see more of him now. But Josh Matthews is a guy who could go away from TNA tomorrow and no one would miss.
No one would probably notice. Lince Dorado versus Mustafa Ali. This was so much fun to watch.
This was the best match of the show, I think.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
I love Mustafa Ali. I mean, this is a guy that when I was back in my refereeing days in the Midwest, this was a guy I was on shows with pretty much every weekend. And Mustafa Ali's come a long way. He's more muscular than he was 10 years ago, obviously. He's much better in the ring, but he's still got that reckless kind of abandon that, this guy's going to go out and try things. He's not going to take it easy. He's going to go out and try. And this is a really good opportunity for him because this is a guy in Chicago who works a full-time job. He's not out there all the time wrestling like a lot of these other guys. This guy has got a full-time job at home and he wrestles on the weekends, and he's now got this opportunity with WWE, and a guy that I would not be shocked at all if they actually have interest in and sign. Whether he goes there or not, I don't know. But Mustafa Ali's making the most of it. A guy who was not even supposed to be in this Cruiserweight Classic, by the way, a last-minute replacement because I don't remember the name. But the participant from Mexico ended up double booked, and they feared he wouldn't show up. And guess what? They were right. He didn't. So they put Mustafa Ali in, and this match was a ton of fun. This was the main event of the show to me.
It was fantastic. That springboard Spanish fly was unbelievable. Yeah. I loved it. Both of these guys, their stock went straight through the roof. And, I heard rumors that in the next round, that the best match ever in Full Sail history happens in this tournament. I just keep hearing better and better things about this tournament, and then I finally get to see them. I don't like that, it airs so far after it's taped, but or usually I don't. With Lucha Underground, it really, really, really bothers me because we're talking like a year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to give this a little more of a pass because I don't see this style all the time in WWE. What I know that I will see in Lucha Underground is what I see in Lucha Underground. I know what's coming. I'm just surprised. Like, they did a springboard reverse Shuriken Rana, and I was like, I can't believe that they were allowed to do that. Like, they don't have any restrictions on these guys, it looks like. So, man, that was some fun stuff.
They're telling them to go out there and have the matches you would have on the indies. Like, they're not, they're really not stressing. They're not agenting this to make it a WWE style, because coming in and doing the WWE style matches wouldn't make any sense, right? It wouldn't make the show any different. It wouldn't make these guys stand out any. So go out there, agent your own match, do what you can. That's kind of the situation here. As far as them being so far in advance, as far as how they're taped, it's a bummer. We're in the bad stretch of it now because the next 5 episodes are going to be really well in advance. But once we get towards the end of the tournament, the semifinals aren't taped too far in advance. And then the finals we're going to have, or the quarterfinals even, maybe, I don't know. But if we have the semifinals and the finals on the special on September 14th, that'll be a fun show. And we're not going to have to worry about waiting to see the matches we've been hearing so much about. That's a crazy week now. You talk about Backlash being on the 11th, then you have Raw, then you have SmackDown, then on Wednesday, you're going to have the live finale of the Cruiserweight Classic. That's a lot of wrestling in a 4-day stretch.
Oh, you're leaving something out, my friend. Saturday night, a hat will be eaten.
I don't know what you're talking about.
CM Punk makes his UFC debut. The undefeated CM Punk makes his UFC debut on September 10th.
Oh, does it? I haven't heard anything about it.
Per usual. Akira Tozawa versus Kenneth Johnson. Now, I didn't know a lot about Kenneth Johnson, but they did a really good job about making me care about him pretty damn early on. They talked about how he grew up in a bad neighborhood in Detroit, was picked on as the run of the litter. He moved to Atlanta when he was 18 to train with Mr. Hughes. Right. He tried out for WWE developmental, but due to a severe speech impediment, he was denied that contract. He took speech therapy classes and within 6 months was able to give a 3-minute speech without stuttering. Then he moved to San Antonio to train with Funaki, walked 2 miles to the bus stop to get a job sweeping floors at a movie theater. Then he would walk across town to train with Funaki. I was like, damn, they just made me care more about this guy that I have never seen before. In this pre-match, just, hey, here you go. Then they do with all this TV time to build up a lot of other guys.
No, they do a really good job with these video packages, and it's a shame they're gonna build everyone up in these matches, and someone is going to have to lose. William Regal continued it today. William Regal came out with a post on his Twitter or Instagram talking about Kenneth Jackson, so that really made people look at him a little bit more deeply. So we'll see if these guys come back for anything in WWE, but that's pretty cool that you're not only just given a match on WWE TV, but you're promoted a little bit. Like, this is something he can use to go out there, and maybe if he wants to keep wrestling in larger arenas, they can use this story and see what happens if he ever comes back. So it's really cool. This Cruiserweight Classic's really cool. But the focus of this match to me was how great Akira Tozawa was.
Yes.
Just with his quickness, people are going to start seeing more of that. This was only a first-round match, remember, so you're not going to give away the farm in the first-round match. Akira Tozawa's got that quickness. He's going to have the stuff. He's going to do moves that make that place go crazy, as he did with his German suplex maneuvering here in the Cruiserweight Classic. Akira Tozawa was great, and I look forward to seeing more of him in the Cruiserweight Classic. I'm hoping he goes to the Final Four at least, because I want to see a lot more of him.
Yeah, Kenneth Johnson wasn't bad by any means in this match. It's just he was in the ring with one of the best workers in the world.
Yeah,
and he as Alex explained in the Cruiserweight Classic report, which you all should check out at Fightful.com. Alex's recaps are just fun. They're just fun. It's kind of hard to keep your speed up with a guy like that when you're not at that level. But I enjoyed this show. I really liked it.
It was a good second episode, and it's only going to get better once you start seeing the Zack Sabre Juniors. Once you start especially getting into the second round of this tournament, you're really seeing stars go up against stars, because we haven't got much of that yet. It's going to be, more fun each week as we get into this thing. This is just the opening rounds here, so a lot more to go and a lot of fun coming up.
Lots of drug test news, even outside of Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. Chael Sonnen's name is back in the USADA testing pool, and I love how brutally honest he is about this stuff. Last week, he was asked if he would be making a return to MMA, and he straight up told several media outlets, "Not if the testing is as good as I remember it."
Yeah, that's true. But he's back. He's trying to get that one fight. Maybe he's angling. Maybe, I don't know how it's going to work with him being an analyst for ESPN and going to actually fight. Like, this is a guy that seems to have a pretty cushy job in media right now. He's already blown one opportunity with Fox, and now he's with ESPN, and you want to have this guy keep this job. So I don't know if he's going to blow that by going back to fighting, but that's a certain sign that he might be considering fighting here, and maybe at one of the big shows. One of the maybe New Year's, maybe the big show in Madison Square Garden. I don't know, but yeah, it's very odd timing from a guy that you thought was just completely done.
Oh, it's so crazy. Years later, and even though Sonnen is down 0-2 in the series, you put him against Anderson Silva, it's going to get attention. It's just how it works. At 205 pounds, that fight could happen, and it'd be good for both of them. I think they'd make a lot of money. Yeah, he is back in that testing pool. So and his contract with ESPN, I know, is up at the end of the year. So there's that. And I'm sure that he wants to angle to maybe get back in with Fox or whoever broadcasts the UFC where he can get the most attention doing this. Also, George Sullivan, not a big name at all, but he will not be fighting at UFC on Fox 20. The UFC announced that Sullivan was pulled due to a potential compliance issue with the company's anti-doping policy. He hasn't been flagged for a violation or anything like that, but he voluntarily disclosed information that could pose a potential compliance issue. He did not want to pull out. He did not know that the information in which he disclosed would get him pulled from this. And there are a lot of people kind of upset about it because, they're erring on the side of caution, and his opponent will still weigh in, Hector Urbina, in case somebody pulls out. But, that's a little wonky. I guess I'll wait and hear a little more information. But we did get more information about one Alexander Shlemenko, who was suspended for, I think, 3 years by the California State Athletic Commission, in which did not have the actual authority to do that. They had the authority, according to a judge, to suspend him for the duration of his licensing. Because I believe it was the judge, I'm still learning all the facts on this. The judge said, you can't suspend a guy for longer than he's licensed, I guess. So there's that. Also, Bellator not issuing any comments about that, but he is eligible to fight for them immediately. Personally, I think if athletic commissions and USADA are going to have this level of power, they need to get it right. They need to get their ducks in a row, because you can't suspend guys for years at a time if you're going to screw up, if you're going to leave loopholes. You better fix it, or else, you're going to get the hammer that's going to come down on you. We do have UFC on Fox. I don't know what number we're at now. UFC on Fox 20 tomorrow. Holly Holm versus Valentina Shevchenko. Gilbert Melendez versus Edson Barboza. I will be here for a post show with that. We will have full coverage on Fightful.com. Make sure to go there. I've got tons of exclusives up in the MMA and pro wrestling section, including, Rob, I spoke to CM Punk's training partner recently, Rob.
So that would be the guy who's more ready to fight in UFC than CM Punk?
Well, yeah. He's actually a Bellator title contender, Emmanuel Sanchez.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, he's a fighter. So
yeah, like CM Punk.
Right.
He's lost a few more times than CM Punk, but
right, because CM Punk is undefeated. No,
he is.
I've heard that one.
You have.
There's a lot of time. We got a month and a half here before this alleged fight.
Very true.
CM Punk doesn't even have a graphic yet on the fight card at the UFC website, so that tells you everything you need to know about how confident they are it's going to happen.
How often do you look?
Listen, how many fights got changed 2 days prior to UFC 200, which is a much bigger event? I'm not worried about it. I really am not. I don't think he's going to fail a drug test, but maybe Mickey Gall does,
How often do you check and see if he has a graphic up?
Oh, every day. multiple times a day.
Guys, send in your questions. I don't care what you ask us about. Wrestling, MMA, Rob's reffing. Ask us. I don't care. Writing. I don't care. Ask us about it. Fightful.com. Hey, the audio feed is coming soon.
Ooh.
I'm told potentially as soon as this weekend. Potentially.
Speaking of audio feeds and audio podcasts, I got 3 new ones up this week so far. At Shake Them Ropes is the Twitter feed. Shake Them Ropes on iTunes. Go check it out. We released a new one today with LaToya Ferguson of the AV Club. Big Raw reviewer there at the popular AV Club website. So go check those out. Shake Them Ropes on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, and so much more.
I support this hashtag ad.
Hashtag ad, yes. I should start just applying that to every tweet I make, really.
Doesn't that defeat the purpose when they do that? The hashtag ad.
Can I ask you something? Because I had this take. I don't even consider it a hot take. I thought it was obvious. This take on Shake Them Ropes this week, that Sami Zayn and Finn Balor are going to be cruiserweights on WWE Raw. They're both under 205. Is this something that you believe might happen? Are you against this? Like, what do you feel about the cruiserweights being headlined by Sami Zayn and Finn Balor, which is something I think is obviously happening?
I'm not against it at all. I think that if they want to make this division a real division, then having Finn Balor and Sami Zayn helps, and then
put stars in it.
You have cameos by guys like Enzo Amore and Xavier Woods. They're both 205 pounds and under.
Enzo Amore, bring some guys up from the Cruiserweight Classic every once in a while. You got Brian Kendrick. You got Yoshihiro Tajiri. You got a bunch of names that could be considered cruiserweights. But what I'm getting a lot of is they wouldn't pick Finn Balor 5th overall if he was going to be stuck as a cruiserweight. Well, yeah, they would. If they want to make the cruiserweight seem like a big deal, they would pick a cruiserweight 5th overall. And then Sami Zayn, he wasn't billed as a cruiserweight up until the WWE draft. He was at 212 pounds, according to WWE. They changed it to 205 this week. There's no reason to change it.
Shaved that chest hair, didn't he?
He shaved all the hair. I tell you, mine takes about 3 pounds off of me at least. I don't know. You do not make that change unless the idea is, well, we're making this change for a reason. You're not just going in there willy-nilly and making a change. And at 205, I feel like it's obvious they're going to be cruiserweights. And a lot of people are taking that negatively. Maybe it turns out that it does pigeonhole them as cruiserweights and it's a negative connotation. We don't know. We don't know how it's going to turn out. But I'm simply saying that it looks like they're going to be cruiserweights. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's good. I'm certainly not foolish in that. And picking Finn Balor 5th overall is not evidence that he will be a main event player. It's not. Put Finn Balor up against Roman Reigns. You think Vince is going to see that image on TV and say, yeah, Finn Balor should be the one that should go over in there? He's half the size of Roman Reigns. AJ Styles looks super small against Roman Reigns, and AJ couldn't win.
I could see them doing a storyline down the road where Enzo is struggling to get the cruiserweight title while his buddy Cass has the United States Championship, and they support each other. I could see that. It's
a way now to break some of these teams up without actually breaking them up. It's not like Cass has to turn on Enzo. It's not like Enzo has to turn on Cass. They just have separate goals. Enzo, maybe they win the tag team titles at one point. And now Enzo, after a tag team run, wants to go become a singles champion as the cruiserweight. Maybe they're a tag team and all of a sudden they book Enzo Amore in a cruiserweight championship match on a Raw and he wins. And that's what separates the team. It's not like they even knew they were going to separate. But hey, I won the title here. I have to defend it. Big Cass, go on your own separate way. There's a lot that can happen here. I just don't feel that those dismissing Finn Balor as a cruiserweight are doing themselves justice, because we're probably going to find out Monday that that's exactly the direction he's going.
New Japan G1 kicked off. Who do you think's taking it, Rob? We haven't talked to G1 on here. I want to know you're hip to the New Japan stuff.
Yeah, this show today was insane. We've had 2 shows now. It kicked off on Monday. The B block finally kicked off. If you're not familiar, go search G1 Climax on Google. New Japan Pro Wrestling, their annual late summer tournament, for the rights to get a championship shot whenever you want. This is basically their Money in the Bank in a way, because the winner of the G1 gets a briefcase that he can cash in for a world title shot at any point in the future. Generally, they use it at the Tokyo Dome on January 4th, generally. A lot of thoughts going into this one. For the longest time, and since last January, honestly, thought that Tetsuya Naito was going to win this tournament. Then he won the title, and I kind of backed off. Well, if he's going to be champion, he's probably not winning the tournament. And then Okada won the world title back. So I think Tetsuya Naito's probably likely going to win this tournament. I could also see someone like Hiroshi Tanahashi winning, and then later on he puts the briefcase on the line against Tetsuya Naito, and Tetsuya Naito ends up getting the briefcase even without winning the G1. That's a situation that has happened before where they put the briefcase up early. So something like that could happen. But some way or another, I think the main event of Tokyo Dome is going to be Okada and Tetsuya Naito again. So whether that means he wins the G1 or someone else does, and Naito gets the briefcase later, I'm not quite sure. But today's show was weird because every underdog won. 5 matches, the opening of the B block, every underdog won. Tetsuya Naito lost. Nakajima beat Toru Yano. You had Tomoaki Honma, who does not win singles matches. Tomoaki Honma beat Katsuyori Shibata in the main event of the show. The current never openweight champion, Honma, beat him. And then I'm blanking now on, Kenny Omega lost. Kenny Omega lost to Yoshihashi. Yoshihashi, who also never wins singles matches unless he's fighting the young boys. Yoshihashi, in the first match, beat the former Intercontinental Champion. This is what New Japan does in the G1 tournament. Anyone can win. Like, anyone beats anyone. It doesn't matter what you are the rest of the year. It doesn't matter if you're the world champion, because Okada lost to Naomichi Marufuji on Monday. All the title holders are losing. Michael Elgin lost. Michael Elgin lost to Evil today.
I like that they do keep it unpredictable in that nature, because in a tournament format like this, anything can happen.
Yeah,
you never know. Styles make fights.
And it sets it up on day one, too, that anyone can win. Because so now when we have, 18 more shows to go of this tournament, you are going to go in there thinking, okay, I don't know who's going to win. It doesn't make sense to try and predict it. I'm just going to watch it. I'm going to enjoy it, and we're going to see what's happening. But yeah, right now, if I'm picking one person to win, it's Tetsuya Naito. The second option is probably Hiroshi Tanahashi.
Lots of good matches on that first day as well. Marufuji, Okada, Sanada, Tanahashi. What was the other one? Tenzan and Ishii.
Tenzan came to play against Tomohiro Ishii because this is Tenzan's final G1 likely. Satoshi Kojima, who now is getting a Ring of Honor World title shot at the finals of this tournament against Jay Lethal. Kojima was supposed to be in the show, and he gave up his spot to his tag team partner, Hiroyoshi Tenzan, because it's probably Tenzan's likely last tournament. So Tenzan might make a run. Maybe he gets to the finals of the A block, but I don't see him actually getting into the championship match.
Guys, send in your questions. We have one that gets asked a lot, Rob.
Okay.
Why did we leave Wrestling Inc.?
Well, I didn't. They just, the door closed, and I keep trying to go in, and it's locked or something. So I don't know. I got locked out.
That isn't true at all.
No, I was a freelancer, and you had invited me there. So you can explain your reason, but you had invited me onto the shows. I did the shows with you at your behest, and then you were leaving, and I was like, okay, well, you were my in there, and I'm like, I don't necessarily know if I want to do all these shows. I even told Raj this. I don't want to do as many shows as I was doing. Like, I want to focus on some other things. So you came here and you offered one night a week, and I'm like, okay, I can do one night a week. I can do that. And you were the one at all points who was my contact. So I'm like, well, I'll just go there. It was no ill will towards Wrestling Inc. It was nothing negative towards them. It was just you asked me to do a show, and I said yes.
Well, let's be real. I offered you several nights a week. You said you wanted one night a week. So I was like, okay, I'll take one night a week, Rob.
Is that how it went?
That is how it happened. I'm on good terms with Wrestling Inc. I just got offered a better position somewhere else.
People change jobs. I mean, I've changed jobs. Yeah. I went to another place without having to hate the other place. Sometimes you want to change. You got offered something to where you were working for someone, and now you're still technically working for someone, but you have more input on the design. You have you're a big time player at Fightful, so that's something that you want to do. If I'm the bench coach of a Major League Baseball team and I'm offered a head manager job of a Major League Baseball team, it's likely I'm not turning it down just to stay where I am. I'm going to go be the manager. I'm going to go be the man in charge. And it's not because I dislike the last place, or it's not because they fired me. I just want to go somewhere where I'm going to be more valued. Yeah,
that's it. I have a better deal. I'm getting married later this year. So I had to make the best decision for me. Also, the owner of this website is very committed to providing me all the resources that I need. Let me bring Rob and Jeff along, who are instrumental in the success of this podcast. So very happy with that.
Right.
Somebody says, while we're on the topic, what happened with you and what culture? Man, they hired me because they wanted to aggressively expand into the United States and become a news source, and they gave up on it immediately.
Oh, well,
after they had me give up all of my freelance obligations.
Well, that'll certainly sour you a little bit. But yeah, like I'm not doing this full time. I'm not full time at Fightful. I'm a guest on the Monday night shows, and I just happen to have some free time right now, which is why we're doing this show. But yeah, I guest on the Monday night shows. I have my own podcast that we do weekly. Usually it's only once a week, but this week for some reason we decided to do 3 episodes because we were all about this WWE draft. So I have the podcast I do weekly. And then a lot of my writing and stuff is up at voicesofwrestling.com. So I'm heavily involved there. So it's just a matter of like, I could do one night a week after Raw because I'm watching Raw anyway. And nothing against Wrestling Inc. They got their people. They brought in new people. If you're a fan of us more than the new people there, that's great. We love to have you. But we're not telling anyone to go bash Wrestling Inc. because we feel like they're doing some good stuff too. It's just different. It's different.
Yeah. Different kind of site. And that's one of the things. I mean, we cover MMA, wrestling, boxing. I get to stretch my legs a little more. And at Wrestling Inc., I got to do a little bit of that. I got to cover the UFC pay-per-views and do the occasional article and interview, things of that nature. But now I get to really stretch my legs. I get a team that I want to work with. Although, I loved working with Mark. Mark Middleton is a machine. Raj is very good at what he does. He's probably the top wrestling news site as far as traffic for a reason, and that's because he's worked so diligently. What culture though? Not a fan. They got a good YouTube page, I'll say that. Rob, what were your thoughts on the draft as we didn't get to hear them here? Well, you can hear them on Shake Them Ropes, which I highly encourage.
Our Shake Them Ropes episode 162, which came out Wednesday, was Jeff and I just basically giving everything we could about the WWE draft and the future of Raw and SmackDown. But my number one takeaway was that of the Cruiserweight division. A lot of hype going up with the Cruiserweights. To our commenter on last week's Fightful podcast, who said, why would Stephanie have to draft Cruiserweights? She's got the division already, which was just silly. She drafted them. She drafted Neville. She drafted Finn Balor. She drafted Sami Zayn. They drafted Cruiserweights. So it looks like that'll be the stars of your Cruiserweight division. However, at the same time, with the talent involved, it's pretty much just like another Intercontinental title division. Like, it's not anything too crazy different. These are the same types of guys who, if there were no Cruiserweight title, would be fighting in the Intercontinental Championship division. So they put a name on it. They put the Cruiserweight name on it, but it's the same group of talent, really. So that stood out. I like the fact that, SmackDown on the main event side looks better. I mean, Brock Lesnar's not going to always be there. SmackDown has John Cena, who won't be working house shows, so the house show side's a little bit different. But for TV, John Cena, AJ Styles, Randy Orton, Dean Ambrose, and those are guys that the casual fans are going to love on that show, as well as the hardcore fans with AJ. And then you have on the Raw side, Brock Lesnar, who won't be there a lot. And then what is it? It's Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. It's kind of a tough top tier for the Raw house shows, but the depth-wise on Raw, I think, is certainly better. And with Kevin Owens, with Sami Zayn, with the Cruiserweight division, the tag team scene, the New Day are the echelon of the tag team division right now. Depth-wise, Raw wins, but top star-wise, SmackDown won.
What did you think about Kalisto's promo and Cesaro's promo?
Cesaro's promo was great. It showed general frustration. It showed general reasons why he wants to be great in WWE. And honestly, for his promo, he's talking about how he wants to go in the ring and how he doesn't talk. He can talk. Like, he was pointing out how great he can talk, and he certainly showed it. Like, that was a fiery promo that I wish I would see on television. Maybe not content wise is what you're going to see on television, but just the delivery and the confidence behind it. I want to see more of that Cesaro on TV. Kalisto bombed, and it's unfortunate to see. He goes out there. You can tell that he wasn't quite sure what he wanted to say, and then when it was time to say it, he didn't fully form the thought yet, and he just kind of stumbled. But hey, in a way, it's good that it happened on the WWE network where no one's really going to see it on a large scale. And I don't believe they put it on YouTube, but maybe they did. I'm not too worried about it, but it's weird that he's going to be on SmackDown. It seems like they want to put him in the division with all the guys fighting for the secondary belt. Like, they want to make Kalisto a U.S. title contender or an Intercontinental title contender and not on the Cruiserweight show, because he's obviously not going to be on the Cruiserweight show. Very odd, but I think it'll play out to where people are understanding why it's happening. But yes, that promo was a very bad showing for Kalisto.
My hope is that on SmackDown he can at least do a good lucha.
A good lucha thing.
A good lucha thing. Yeah.
He's better than that. He'll come back from it.
Not on the mic, he's not.
He's better than that on the mic. That was the absolute. That was bad. That was Mike Adamley bad. Like it does not get much worse on the mic than that.
It was pretty bad. Someone asked Sean, have you and Rob, or no, they said Sean and Rob. It would have sounded like they asked if we have wrestled one another, but they're asking if we have wrestled. Rob, I know you did some reffing. Did you ever work in the ring?
Yeah, I mean, not in front of people, but as part of my training, I was wrestling with other people as part of training. Most of my training was just as a ref, though. So like I would do spots, not necessarily full matches and whatnot. But no, I was a referee in front of people. I was never a wrestler in front of people.
I've done a few shows here and there. I still do on occasion. Just not really big stuff. Never had any aspirations for that. Just wanted to get a better grasp of what I was talking about, things of that nature. What's
out there toward, because you're in, I don't know exactly where in Kentucky you are at the moment right now, but there's the group in Cincinnati. What is the group? The NWF. I forget what the Northern Wrestling Federation, I think. Are you familiar with them? Where Chris Harris used to work a lot in Abyss?
Yeah, there's a few of my friends that trained there with Roger Ruffin.
Yeah. So his ex-wife and daughter, Amanda Ruffin, came up to the Fort Wayne area a lot for one of the groups that I ref for. So like that's how I found out about the NWF, is because Abyss would come up and Cindy would come up and Amanda Ruffin would come up. Roger Ruffin never came up. And then a couple of the guys that worked there a lot, I think he was Virus in the NWF for a while, worked a couple of shows for IWA Mid-South. So that's how I became familiar with them in your area. I was just curious if you were familiar of them as well, because that's where Chris Harris worked a lot when he left WWF.
He also worked a couple of indies around here, but he did those BS 2-minute challenge matches that they do whenever, they don't want to work longer than 2 minutes.
Right.
I'm talking like the lowest level indie possible. We did anywhere between 75 to 250 people for our shows, just depending on, because we would do a lot of outdoor shows for fire team benefits and fireman benefits and things of that nature.
Sure.
Somebody says, is any of Rob's reffing or Sean's wrestling on YouTube? My first 2 matches are on YouTube. Are any of yours, Rob?
Yeah, I know I have stuff on YouTube. If you let's see, I'm gonna see the one that I end up like passing by all the time is a match between Bobby Fish and Too Cold Scorpio that happened in IWA. Yeah, it is up there. IWA Mid-South. If you search for Bobby Fish Scorpio on YouTube, you will see me reffing Bobby Fish and Too Cold Scorpio from, I believe, the TPI that year in Joliet, Illinois, in IWA Mid-South. And the only reason I know this is on YouTube is because I sent this to Bobby Fish back when the match happened, because he needed a video to show promoters, and Too Cold Scorpio was a pretty big name, and he at that point was not wrestling a lot of big names. So he used this video to send to different promotions. And now, of course, Bobby Fish is one of the biggest junior stars in the world, working New Japan and Ring of Honor. So yeah, you'd be able to see me in a full match on YouTube with Bobby Fish and Too Cold Scorpio. I'm sure there's other ones that I'm on. It's not because of anything about me. It's because of who was in the ring at the time. You can also find a lot of the videos on High Spots. A lot of the IWA Mid-South stuff is going to be on Smart Mark Video or High Spots. So you can go search any IWA Mid-South show basically between 2006 and 2008. I'm on almost every one of them.
Also, something I didn't talk about, Cris Cyborg wants her own division. I did a rare column about this on the website. I think this is ridiculous. 145 pounds. She wants her own 145-pound division in the UFC. Keep in mind that 2.5 years ago, this woman agreed, actually longer than that. Like in 2013, she had agreed to fight at 135 pounds against Ronda Rousey before asking for her release when Rousey signed the contract. That fight against Carmouche was supposed to be against Cyborg, but it didn't happen. She also committed to doing this in 2014, never made the weight, didn't make 140 pounds on several occasions in Invicta when she had agreed to that. Only at UFC 198 did she finally do that, and she weighed in at 139 pounds against Leslie Smith, who is 8-7-1. And then conveniently, when Jermaine Durandamy who is a legit fighter, calls her out. She's like, yeah, I don't want to do this 140 thing anymore. Rob, is that a little weird to you?
No.
It's weird to me. Weird to me. Do you happen to know what the, let's see, the number 7 ranked woman's record is at 145 pounds?
Record.
It's 4-3.
Okay.
4-3.
There's just not a lot of women out there that they're measuring. I mean, right? The division's not entirely strong. Once you get past the top 4 or so, anyone can beat anyone in that division because they're not full-timers doing it.
Sure, yeah. I mean, number 13 is a woman who fought twice.
Okay.
Also in the top 10, you have a 39-year-old woman, 9-5, that Cyborg destroyed. You have a 34-year-old woman, a 36-year-old woman, and then another woman who is fighting at 135 pounds this month. So I think this is, it's not going to happen. Cyborg needs to give it up. She does have her own weight class in the UFC. It's 140 pounds. I don't think there's anything in the world wrong with women who are willing to jump up that extra 5 pounds. Now, Cyborg's thing is she says all these 135-pound women fought at 145 at some point. Well, that's because that's where the most money was at that time. Now they're fighting at 135, and that's a division that Cyborg doesn't want to fight at because she says that she will emaciate herself. But at the same time, you can't ask other women to jump up 10 pounds to face you. I don't get it. I don't like it.
She can ask for whatever she wants. She's
sure.
not going to get it. She can ask for whatever she wants.
Yeah, sure. I think it's ridiculous, nuts, crazy. Rob, anything to leave these people with before we go?
Go follow me on Twitter at Shake Them Ropes. Go get my podcast on iTunes, Shake Them Ropes on iTunes. Go subscribe to the Fightful email newsletter. Get all your updates on Fightful.com. And catch our pods on Monday nights here on YouTube. It's a fun time.
Catch them on Fightful.com, not on YouTube.
Catch them on Fightful.com. YouTube's trash. Don't even go there. Like, why would you even go there? Like, totally.
Yeah, guys, go to Fightful.com. Register. We will start putting some of our content up there exclusively. The Russo and Showdown Joe podcasts may be exclusive to registered members, but it is free. No credit card, anything like that. Also, some of their features that they write. Also, visit draftbeast.com for the best in fantasy sports. I have so much fun. Draftbeast.com. Also, go to our podcast page. Click that On It link. Do the same thing. Triple H probably doesn't even get On It sent to him. I think he goes to Fightful.com. He watches me and Rob talk for a little while.
Yep.
And he's like, damn, I need to re-up on my Alpha Brain. I've got to book a bunch of NXT. I got to go sign some people. So I need to go to this Fightful.com link, click it, and get a great sale. That's probably where he buys his awesome kettlebells too. I don't know if he's been taking that krill oil, though, because his skin looks awfully leathery from all that tanning. Meanwhile, mine is silky smooth, my friends. That's right. Fightful.com. I'm back tomorrow night after UFC on Fox 20. Join me, my friends. Until next time, we are out.
See you, bro.